Morning, guys. Morning, come here. Good boy, good, here. Couchette. I had this all set up. He was supposed to stay there, but when I start talking to the camera, then it makes it a little bit strange for them because I'm sitting here chattering and they're going, what's Dad talking about? It's the day after New Year's. It's New Year's Day, 2017 today. Last night was a normal holiday night where we had the excitement of the fireworks, and I mentioned that I was going to be trying to get online with you guys and discuss a little bit about the fireworks and what people deal with when they're dealing with fireworks. Fireworks are one of the most traumatic things for a dog that you can think of. It's up there with handler bound or handler dependency. Those two things, in my estimation, are probably some of the most traumatic things for a dog to ever come down the pike. With fireworks, gunfire, that kind of thing, loud noises that are traumatic to an animal, you can do a lot in the production of or building the puppy, just like you see me building dogs. That's what we're doing. We're trying to build strength. It's not a matter of just heel, sit down, stay, come and finish. It's a matter of building a dog that has all the strengths that he can draw on to go towards being a productive part of your family. And a working dog, hopefully. I'm into working dogs, that's what I do, but it doesn't mean that I don't work with Schipperkes, Lhasa Apsus, it doesn't matter. Small dogs, big dogs, they're all four legs and they all have the same thing in a lot of ways, a dog psychology. They may be dictated by their breed and their genetics that is been bred to do a certain job, and in that case we have to allow for that. But at the same time, there's no dog that you can't develop with the methods that you see me using that will bring out strength. I've worked all kinds of breeds in my life, and every breed you can possibly think of, I probably worked it. I used to have a little min pin. The owner of the min pin at the time was really, this was her little foo-foo. She carried the dog everywhere, and you guys have probably all seen it. A little yapper that's in the lady's hands, excuse me for being sexist, but it's usually a woman that owns a small dog like this. And they will be a little yappy, a little bit neurotic in a lot of their behaviors. And I learned early on that I could take a dog like that and shape it like a big dog and do things and treat it like a big dog, and that dog's stature would change. This min pin is a great example for me because it brings back a lot of memories where I would have this dog, I had this dog prancing and he was proud of himself, and he was a big dog in a small dog's body by the time I got done with him. It doesn't mean that those behaviors didn't go back to what they were before with the owner, and that the owner caused a lot of the behavior traits of the animal as they treated him a certain way, and oh, my little snookums and that sort of thing, and the dog reverted back to being a little yappy little mess that it always was. But in that case, it was a good example to me, and has been for years, that I always try to shape a dog to my wants and needs, and not really be dictated by the dog's breed and genetics. And this is, I mean, it's within a certain amount you can get that. You have a large dog who's going to be a lot more slow and is methodical, like my dog here, this German Shepherd, is a Czech Shepherd. He's huge, he's about 85 pounds, he's only a year old, slow to mature, very kind of doofus with his attitude and his how fast he is with things. He's not a Maserati like Maury here. Maury's a lot faster and a lot more able to do things in a fast, and he's like Ferrari in his gear ratio, I guess is the best way to say it. It almost is like a car. It's a gear ratio, mental gear ratio that the animals give you. And every breed's different. So back to my gunfire and loud noises, that sort of thing. If you develop a dog properly as far as doing things with a socialization that you see me doing, like you see me working with my puppy, Joker. Joker is getting worked and being put into an environment that he is being developed to be a working dog, police canine or personal protection, or go towards the street. And you can pretty much do anything you want to do with a dog like this. Like Maury, you can take him towards ring, you can take him towards Schutzhund, you can take him towards dock diving. There's not much you can't do with a dog that's been groomed to be a working dog. So even if it's a pet, even if it's a dog that you have and it's just your pet dog, you still want to do the same things. Get the dog out, people, places, and things, and socialize that dog as much as possible, and do what you heard me talking about on my other videos where I'm working with that puppy and developing him, where you sack the dog out and he's getting used to noises and all kinds of things, so the dog becomes a lot more balanced and is able to take the stressors of dealing with the holidays and the loud noises and all that. And it doesn't mean he's going to be perfect. Dogs are not stupid. Dogs are affected by environment that affects them. Loud noises, their ears are 10 times stronger than ours, and maybe even more if you were to get into real statistics about the numbers. But they are very much more susceptible to the decibels that are put out by loud noises. Genetically and what they are as far as a creature and a dog, they're very affected by these loud noises. Even if my dog is like Maury, that's very good with gunfire and thinks of it in a different way. When he hears loud noises and he hears that gunfire, he starts barking and he gets reactive. But that's just an outlet of the stressors that he's going through. It doesn't mean that he's mean when he hears gunfire or any of that. It just means that he's dealing with it in his own way and in his own way and shape and form. So what we want to do on the night or the day that you're going to be getting ready for a holiday, I always like to stay at home. I don't like to leave my dogs at home and go out and party because I know what they're going to go through. And so I take it as training. To me, it's all about getting the dog through it, giving him something to rely on, and setting up a routine that dog becomes accustomed to as much as possible, because they're still stressed out, and use it as training. And I think about it as in a training mode. So what I will do when the dog is young is I'm always doing my little chatter. You heard me talking about my chatter when I'm saying, hey, yep, yep. And they both reacted to that. They're very receptive to my voice tone, my body language, everything comes from me and they know it. So when I start chattering and doing things, they're going to get excited and they're going to get into this. So I've got to be careful if I want them to stay here and be my models on my side here. So in a general sense, I basically desensitize the dog to noises as much as I can. I get him into positive things like that ball you see me throwing when I'm doing my socialization down at the store. I'm going to do things that get them into drive when they hear these noises. I'm going to pay attention to their body language and their whole thing. And I'll get in on key things when I see nervousness that I'll go in and I'll flow into, usually into drive, that I take that away or I redirect it towards that drive. Okay? So that becomes a conditioned response on that dog. So as I get into these noises and they're coming into my home at night, I will turn on the music and I'll turn it up somewhat loud, okay? Because I want to drown out that big old bang bangs as much as I can. I go ahead and I get the dogs in the house with me, and then when I see them get affected by the noise, I right away get into these high drive type things and hey, yep, and I'm kind of redirecting it and taking it away. The wrong thing to do is to sit there and say, oh, it's okay, because when you show that sensitivity to them and you show that they know something's wrong and they're going to give you that negative behavior, let's call it a negative behavior. It's not really a negative behavior, it's just behavior of them dealing with stress, okay? So I will get into redirecting it and take them into drive and going towards what I do with my working stuff. So I direct it towards that type of an emotional response from the dog. I am conditioning an animal. And so if I've already got this baseboard of conditioning over here, I'm going to take it into what I'm using for with the animal. Okay. Now we mentioned in our little post last night there's a lot of commercial things that you can use to help a dog get through this. And there is. And I'll go ahead and mention a couple of them that are very well known and that are very good. Maybe you don't know about them, so I'll tell you about them. One's called the Thunder Coat. I heard that name online last night. We were talking about it. It's basically a jacket that goes around the dog and goes to about their waist and gives them a constricting type of a feel. It's kind of a little bit of elastic, a little tight. They've got probably some Velcro on it. I've never seen one, but it makes a lot of sense to me, and it does secure the dog psychologically a little better. He feels more secure when this is on him. I see this when I work protection dogs. I use a harness because the dog's pulling, going after the bad guy, but that harness gives the dog a stature and he draws confidence from it. And it's just an unusual, well, I don't know if it's unusual, it's just a fact of life with the dog psychology that if I put this on him, he becomes more secure. So that makes a lot of sense to me that those Thunder Jackets work. Somebody also mentioned that if they didn't have a Thunder Jacket, you could use a dog coat or a sweater that would be tight around the dog's midriff, around their body and their chest, up to their neck. It basically makes the dog feel more secure. There's also some scents that are out there, lavender, that kind of thing, that are supposed to be able to settle the dog down and make him feel more calm and more relaxed. And then, of course, you've got the veterinarian with drugs. But if you have a dog that's very extreme in their behaviors, you can reduce it with counter conditioning with a trainer. Come to me and we can help you out a little bit. But you're never going to reverse it. Here's the way I think of behaviors and maturity with a dog. When I have a young puppy, he is a blank slate. He's a clean record. There's no scratches on it. There's no grooves. He's ready to be written on, just like you would put grooves in a record for the music. And it's a blank slate. So we deal with maturity wherever the dog's maturity is. He's a puppy. He's a young dog, and he's only going to be able to accept and take in certain things as he develops. Understanding that development and what they do as they develop and mature is important, but realize that the most critical period is when he's a baby till probably 6 months of age. And even longer than that, they're still learning and taking in things. But that critical development period from birth to about 6 months of age is critical. That's why in the old days they used to say, well, not too long ago, it's in my era, so not too long ago, but it used to be said that you didn't start obedience training until 6 months of age. And the reason for that was because back in the day, they used to do a lot more yank and crank. And a lot more aversive type methods on a dog. And they didn't want to do that to a young puppy. They wanted to wait for him to be a little older and able to handle that. So about 6 months is when you were told to go out and do your obedience. And usually there was trainers out in the parks, and we used to work out in the park a lot. Now you've got corporate that's come into the mom and pop stores, not mom and pops, the corporate type of a slant that is giving lessons in a pet store environment. I'm not prone to that. I don't enjoy that because I don't believe in what they've got going on there. Their premise is good, but at the same time they have very limited. It's purely food, and you're in a very locked-in environment, and the trainers in general, I can tell you right now, they take a 50-hour course. It's 2 weeks course, and they say, poof, you're a dog trainer. And they give them the synopsis. It's a very dynamic course, to be honest with you, but within 50 hours you're poof to you're a dog trainer. I just kind of cringe against that because all they are really is they're salesmen. They're trained to sell. So you go into those pet stores and that's exactly what you get. You get sold every time. Oh, we got treats over here. You need this. And you get your arm twisted constantly. So that's just my opinion of it. I'm not a pet store. I'm a dog trainer that deals with dog psychology and deals with behaviors and mental handicaps. I mean, if you have a dog that's handler bound or has noise problems, that sort of thing, you're going to want to come to somebody like me that can help you reverse that. Can we get rid of it? Back to my record, okay, back to putting a scratch on the record. I look at behaviors and negative things that happen in a dog as being things that get a groove or a scratch put into it. When you have a negative that comes in, that groove and that scratch is there. The longer that groove and scratch, the behaviors keep going and they keep occurring. And let's say reactivity is an example, and the dog's lunging at the end of a leash and going after the dogs or people. When those behaviors get more and more ingrained, the harder it is to get rid of. The older the dog is, the harder it is to deal with. So it's called counter conditioning, and it works. It's something that I use a lot. And it can be addressed in a very customized way. Every dog is different, every customer is different, every environment's different, so we deal with it as it comes at you type of an attitude, because you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know. You've got to educate the owner, you've got to deal with the dog. But that's what I deal with, is dog psychology. We deal with repairing and helping dogs get better behaviors. I'm going to go ahead and jump in right now. I'm not know what's going on. Somebody just knocked on my door or my window. I don't know what the heck happened. I happened to got these guys all excited. Maybe it was a bird hitting the window. I didn't want to get too long-winded with this, but bottom line is, when you have that thing, turn on your music, get in some of the commercial things that you have, the options you have available to you. If you have a dog that's very traumatized and totally way past a point of being able to develop and help to lead to this degree. Couché. Nope. Couché. Good. So, you can use those type of things, and also seek out a professional trainer that can help you counter condition and help you addressing this. Are you ever going to get rid of it totally? If you have a dog that's severely traumatized by noises, handler bound, that's handler dependency is what we call it, those sort of things cannot be reversed 100%. They will become a lot better, and you have something that you can work with, and you now have an understanding of what you're dealing with. But they are going to be able to be reversed to whatever degree that you can, and we try to make it 100%. But when you have a dog trainer come at you and tell you, yeah, we guarantee everything and we can solve these things, sure they can. You know, we can make it a lot better. But when they try to make an attitude like this is just what I call the robot syndrome, that we can just put a bolt in and it fixes it and it's done and it's over with, they're lying to you. Because reality is the dog is a product of two things, his environment and his breeding. And his environment is everything once he's pooped out of the womb, okay? So that's why you see me out there with my puppies as young as I am and doing with everything's food, everything's positive motivation, and doing all the work and everything I put into it is because I'm developing and I'm building a dog. I look at it just like that. It's like building a wall, putting one brick on top of the next and putting that wall together so that it's firm, it's got a lot of strength to it, and that's all about genetics and it's about environmental. So those two things go together. So you want to start when they're babies and you want to be aware of these things. Handler dependency is caused by a dog that's with you all the time and doesn't know how to have any separation from you. You don't want to have that happen. It's very traumatic for a dog. And once they get that ingrained, it's one of the hardest problems to get rid of, and it's very traumatic. So you don't want to have that happen. You want to give as much socialization as possible. You want to do some separation so you teach the dog to be on his own. I leave my dogs all the time, and I do it sporadically, and I do it on purpose, and I do it in a certain way. So if you have a dog that's even tendencies of that, and you think you're going to have a problem, come see me. Give me a call. Again, I own ProTech Dog Training here in Lake Elsinore, California. And we can help you out. We can even do video consultations just like this. We can get online and we can talk and I can walk you through it and get to know your dog online. There's not much we can't do in today's world with our technology that we have available to us. If you're willing to have an open mind and learn and grow, give me a call. I thank you very much. I hope you had a good 4th of July. Excuse me, 4th of July. We're going to have to redo this one because I got the holidays all messed up. It's early in the morning. It was a rough night last night with all the noises and everything, and I did not drink, but I got a foggy head, and I haven't had my coffee and my tea. Maybe I'll redo this thing. I think I'll redo it, and we'll get some coffee and tea in front of me. Another prop that I can use. So we're going to get rid of this one.